JJ, Jack, Adam, Andy, Jack, Adam, Jeff, Andy, Jack, Adam, Jack. And we're so excited to tell you about our new theme park for Walt Disney. So in October 2012, the Walt Disney Company acquired Lucasfilm for about $4 billion. So we thought the best way to build a new theme park, as well as capitalize this investment, would be Star Wars World. So by a show of hands, how many people have seen Star Wars? That's what I expect. So we have what we think will be a very popular park. The Star Wars world has a lot, it's one of the highest grossing franchises of all time. So there's a lot of different content to pull in and use in the creation of a park. So sort of like Harry Potter world we use as a comparable, having specific content and building your own park off of that would be a really great idea. So we'll have sort of multiple worlds in the park. Star Wars, you have a desert planet, a frozen planet, a jungle planet. So we'll have different sort of worlds within the park. It's going to coincide with the release of 3 new Star Wars movies within the next 10 to 12 years, 2015 to 2021. And it monetizes the investment in Lucasfilm. So that's a lot of synergies between marketing for the new movies as well as our park. For location, we chose Las Vegas. Las Vegas doesn't have a Disney presence as it stands. It's a nice climate for a park. Can be open year-round. Las Vegas has around 40 million visitors annually. Not all just for gambling and strippers. There is a growing amount of people who go to Vegas with their families and shows, different entertainment. So the idea of hopping on a monorail and taking it out to our park that's outside the city limits for a family would be, I think, a really, really winning great idea. As far as attractions, there's plenty of chase scenes. We've got coasters we can do, large-scale coasters. Restaurants, the cantina scene in Star Wars. How cool would it be to go to that cantina? Hopefully you don't get shot by Han Solo. And for kids, there'd be Jedi Training Center and things like that. So we think that this would be a really great idea for a park. And with that, I'll give it to Tiana for some of the numbers.
Okay, so I will talk about the assumptions. Our assumptions are based on information available about the Disney company and comparable company with Disney. We use 6 Flags. I'll start with the revenues. We assume that people will spend a day or 2 in our park. We don't think it will be like the Disney World where people can spend a week or so. It will be very close to Las Vegas. And people probably will stay, only 20% of the visitors probably will stay in our hotel. We assume the $90 per day ticket price, which is comparable to Disneyland price today, and 75% of our visitors will spend on for the merchandise. On the expense side, we looked at the financial information from 6 sites, and we looked at the ratio that we have in expenses and correctly used it in our valuation. I would like to emphasize that the G&A expenses include marketing too. We'll be using the same number, which is 21%, but we assume that the release of new movies, as Jack just mentioned, will contribute to the traffic to our park. And in our group projections, we assume that the hotel room rate and the price ticket will grow the same rate as inflation, and visitor growth will grow on average between the growth of visitors to Las Vegas and the growth of visitors to Disneyland. And Chad will elaborate more on numbers.
We will break ground in 2015. We'll open our doors in 2017. As you can see, Star Wars World will be highly profitable from the very first year, and revenues and expenses will grow proportionally from 2 to 5% throughout the first 10 years, so that by the end of 2027, we'll have a net income of approximately $200 million. That's very different from free cash flow. What we've done here is we project the positive elements of free cash flow from 2015 up to 2027. The orange is the free cash flow that's plowed back into repayment of the principal. And as you can see, by 2022, we should have our entire loan paid off. And beyond that, we should have very significant amounts of free cash flow going directly back to Star Wars World. So the entire loan will be repaid by 2022, and this project, which Adam will expand upon a little bit more, will be NPV positive by 2027.
With a strong credit rating from all 3 major credit bureaus, we anticipate being able to have a variable loan of just under 3.5%. For the loan, we assume that all the fees that are added to it will equal about 1% of the total principal amount, and we assume that there's going to be no early repayment fee for paying back a loan early. We decided to take $1.7 billion of it as a term loan and $0.3 as raise a revolver in order to match the cash flows. And since, at 10 years, with a 10-year bond, the net present value for the loan goes on the building. We anticipate being able to pay back the loan within 10 years, with the principal being completed at about 2022 and the revolver a year later. Total expected interest on the loan is going to be about $400 million. And then we expect that that's as long as we recycle all the free cash flow back to the firm in terms of servicing the debt. On the left, you see a graph of the net present value of the project. It becomes positive in 2028. And should banks loan the money to Disney with our strong credit rating, as mentioned before, we also have promising cash flows that come with adding this new park, as well as expanding the Disney brand by continually adding new parks. The syndicated loan allows the diversification of risk, and as well as being able to make $400 million over the lifetime of the loan. So we'll now take any questions that you guys want.
All right, let me just throw one your way. We got a minute to go. You mentioned, Yana, using Six Flags as a comp in some of the areas. Can you talk more about that?
We use Six Flags as comparable, mainly in terms of revenue and expense breakdown. Now, a large part of the admissions revenue was tied directly to the ticket price. We brought that from a percentage standpoint. We modeled that on a base between what we think Six Flags does, based off of their 10K, and the current performance of current Disney parks, which are slightly different than Star Wars World. So, for example, revenue, approximately 50% of revenue comes from admissions.
Yep.
And approximately 75%, or concessions account for approximately 75% of whatever admissions revenue is, and we found that steady across both Disney parks and across both Six Flags parks.
Very good. All right, good job, guys.